Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a little while since I've uploaded, and the reason why, I told you in my first video that I didn't really love the quality of my iPhone camera, so I'm not using it today. I'm using my Canon. I'll put the type of camera and like the number and all of that in the description box below. But the reason why this upload is late is because I actually recorded 2 videos. They came out great. But turns out that this particular camera does not record for more than 15 minutes at a time. So that's where we're at. So I recorded 2 videos, they cut off, and let that just be a cautionary tale to you. Before you use any piece of equipment, maybe read the manual. So here we are, we're going to be doing a get ready with me rant type thing. Y'all know me, I just be talking, I just be doing my makeup, whatever. So I have a list of things on my phone, like in my notes, that I wanted to kind of cover. We'll see what we can do, and then I'll also kind of walk you through what it is that I'm doing. Hopefully this angle is okay. If you want me to zoom in or zoom out because you're a little bit too close, let me know. So first we are going to start with primer. So I actually have the Milk makeup primer, the Milk Hydro Grip primer. Lost it already, and that's not true. I didn't lose it, I misplaced it, but I also really didn't notice a difference between that primer and the one that I use. So the one that I'm using is the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. This is the primer that I've been using maybe for like 2 or 3 years now. I feel like this is like the only primer that like I've ever, well actually no, I use the Smashbox one. This primer has like a silicone kind of finish. The Hydro Grip primer is definitely like a lot stickier. I heard really good things about it. The girl in the Sephora said good things about the Milk primer, but I kind of wanted to use this for this look because it's been a while since I've used it and I've never used it with a new foundation I'm going to use in a minute. So I wanted to kind of see if I could tell the difference. So we're using that. And then I always start with brows. Apparently there's a conspiracy in the makeup world that you should do brows last. Honestly, girl, do you. We're not doing that over here on this channel. Okay? But, you know, if you do it, no shame. Whatever. So I have 2 mirrors here, just in case y'all are wondering where I'm looking. I have this smaller one, and then I have my Impressions vanity mirror that I'm also using. I'll probably show that to y'all in another video when I kind of like just walk you through like the stuff that I use when it's in my makeup. But we're going to start with brows. So I trimmed my brows and tweezed them a little bit over the last couple days or so. I have this thing where I like pick at my brows and just try to get every single little thing that annoys me about them, but it doesn't really work. So I'm going to start with the Gimme Brow pencil. Well, with the Gimme Brow like stick, I guess you could call it. I got this as a sample in a Sephora, with a Sephora purchase. I've never used this a day in my life. So let's see. Do I like what it's doing? No. So what I'm going to do, this is a sample, that's why it looks like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use what I typically use, which is the Anastasia, and then I'll probably fill in my fronts with that. So, Anastasia Brow Wiz. This is in dark brown, and I'm using my Sonia Kashuk Spoolie. So what are we going to talk about today, y'all? So, something that's just really been on my heart, and it's always on my heart because I've talked about it multiple times, is this idea that like, let's just go ahead and get into it. So, with this YouTube thing, right, I started YouTube today, and I think like one of the things that I kind of notice about people when they decide that they're going to be new content creators, or when they come up with a project or merchandise or a song or whatever, rather than, I don't know, pitching it to people who would genuinely be interested, they look to their friends for support, or they look to their community, i.e. like the Black community, because most of the people that I follow and most people in like my social media circles are Black people, and they'll be like, oh, y'all can make XYZ go viral, but y'all don't support each other like that, basically, right? Like, and what made me think of this is like when that whole like NASA said the brooms can stand up today thing happened. Everybody was like doing the broom challenge, and people were like, y'all can make the broom challenges go viral, but y'all can't make Black businesses go viral. First of all, that's a lie. That's just a lie. Black businesses go viral regularly. Like, I see creative Black businesses and Black entrepreneurs going viral on Twitter on a regular basis, at least weekly. Your business might not be going viral. And if you want to say that, then just say that. Oh, my brows are so much easier to do once I feel like they're trimmed. Looking okay. I'm going to do like the totally obscene thing that I do, which is outline them in a concealer that's a shade lighter than me, but we're gonna blend it in so that I don't have that halo brow look. But so, and I'm just kind of like, here's my thing. Whenever you are putting out a product or any sort of content, I feel like you should research what your market is, right? What is the target demographic? If the target demographic that you're trying to reach is 24 to 28-year-old women who make $60,000 a year, then your 18-year-old friends who make $20,000 and are in school are probably not your target market. And if they're not your target market, then you can't really be upset that they're not supporting you, right? Like for me, like when I started this whole YouTube thing, my first video, I posted it on my story. And I left it at that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't promote your product. My thing is, I really don't want this to become a big thing. Like, I mean, like, I pretty much wanted to do YouTube because I like talking a lot and I like doing my makeup and it goes where it goes. But, like, my career is in academia, which we'll talk about later. So, like, I'm not really looking for a career change. This is more of, like, a hobby type thing. And if I really enjoy doing it and, like, I want to invest in, like, higher quality videos and, like, really put out quality content, then I'll do that. But, and I'll, like, let you all know as this develops, like, what it is I'm trying to do. But I really, like, when I started off, didn't really have the goal of becoming, like, the next Jackie Aina or something. Right? For a number of different reasons, which we could talk about at a later date if y'all really want to know. But, like I said, I posted it to my story. There have been a number of people who had been like, oh my goodness, when's your YouTube coming out? We want tutorials. We want XYZ. And by number, I would say maybe like 10 to 20 total. And so when I posted it, I actually ended up getting like a number of people were like watching it, reposting it to their stories, like without me having to ask them. And my thing is, I'm not upset and I do not feel any type of way about the people who I'm friends with or the people who I follow who didn't. Because it's like, if it's not your cup of tea, then it's not your cup of tea. Like, if you don't regularly watch makeup tutorials or if you're just not interested in the kind of looks that I do or like seeing how I do my makeup, then that's completely fine. Like, I don't want to force people to watch me, especially if like this is not the kind of content that they regularly consume, you know? Like, I feel like it's the equivalent of like, if you're putting out a vegan cookbook and you expect your friends who are on a keto diet to buy it, like, you can't really do that. I mean, you can do that, but you can expect them to promote it, sure. There's a ton of free ways that you can support your friends, but, like, putting their money into a product that is not useful to them doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. So I'm happy with that brow. Oh, if you were wondering, I'm outlining it with this NYX full coverage concealer pot that I got from Target. This will be in a haul because I got this on sale a couple weeks ago. In the shade medium. Is it too light for my brows? Absolutely. So I just feel like, think about what your target demographic is and pitch to them. Don't just pitch to the people that are readily available, right? So like, I could have 30,000 followers and they might not be people that are interested in like my makeup YouTube or whatever I end up talking about here. And so I'm not pitching to them. I'm finding a way to identify a market and pitch to that market. You feel me? If I'm selling $700 wigs, then I'm probably not going to be pitching it to college student, because the average college student doesn't have $700 on hand to just like buy a wig. You know, like people who are professionals, people who make maybe six figures, like women of a certain age or like of a certain class status with certain jobs. Those are the people who can afford my product. So those are the people that I should be pitching to. You feel me? So I feel like it's really weird to me when people get upset that they're not being supported when they're not really pitching to their target demographic. You feel me? And I just feel like this is... Like, I've watched a number of YouTube videos just out of curiosity. Like, whenever I do my makeup or whenever I'm doing anything, like, I just watch YouTube. There's plenty of people who talk about this. There's plenty of people who talk about how to grow a following. There's plenty of people who talk about, like, identifying a market. There's plenty of people who talk about putting together a business plan. And so I feel like if you're screaming at me, a graduate student who makes $15,000 a year, to my mom is calling. Mom, I love you. Now's not the time. That sounds really harsh. Hold on. Yes, ma'am. I'm recording a video right now.
Okay, so you got the messages, right?
Yes, I got the messages. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Hi. I gave you a shout out. Toodles.
Toodles.
So anyway, like I was saying, I just feel like, don't yell at me. A graduate student is $15,000 a year stipend about not buying a $100 do-rag. It's plenty of people with jobs who are willing to buy your do-rag, but sweetie, I just can't. It's out of my range, okay? And so that's just one of my pet peeves, but let's move on. So, next, let's talk about what I've been watching on Netflix lately. So, lately, and let's start with my favorite, Love is Blind. This is going to be real short. Cameron and Lauren, I stand. Her name is Lauren, right? Let me check. Yes, Cameron and Lauren. Cameron and Lauren are my favorites right now. And so here's the thing. I feel like because they're an interracial couple, there's a lot of people who are talking about them in like a very fetishizing way. Like, white men really do things differently. White men this, white men that. And I'm definitely not trying to do that. And there's no room for that here in this space, right? I feel like interracial relationships, like, you can love who you love, but like, don't use this as an example or like as a reason to bash black men. Because I've definitely seen some conversations that are like talking about Cameron, like he's so great because he's a white man and she needed to try something different to find the love of her life. Cameron is great because they're compatible, not inherently because he's white. And let's not use this as a reason to bash black men unnecessarily. Okay? So there's that. But, I just wanted to say that disclaimer. Because I don't want this disclaimer. Right? So, they just really seem to have a genuine connection. And it's just fun to watch. Everybody else, a mess. Like, and when I say a mess, I mean a mess. Where's this little rinky-dink thing? A mess. Like, I just feel like everybody else is just kind of either uninteresting. Like, Kayla and Kenny. No. Kenny and Kelly. See, their names I couldn't even commit to memory. Kenny and Kelly seem great. But Kenny and Kelly are Kenny and Kelly. Mark and Jessica. Jessica seems like she hates him. I don't see this going anywhere. Who else? Giannina and her man. I don't know. They on the rocks with me. And then obviously Carlton did Diamond dirty. Like, I just feel like if you're looking to marry someone, shouldn't their acceptance of your sexuality be like one of the key tenets of your relationship? Like, shouldn't that be central? So the fact that you didn't even ask her that question or that you didn't take it upon yourself to disclose that is very weird to me. Like, why would you want to be with somebody not knowing that you are a bisexual man? Why would you not want confirmation before you propose to them that they are okay with that? Because the worst thing you could do is end up with a partner who is constantly bashing a part of your identity that you think is important. Like, if that's important to you, and if that's one of your core values, then you should probably state that up front, you know? Because ideally you want to be with somebody who shares your values. But hey, what do I know? I've been single for years. Another thing that I've been loving on Netflix lately, well, I haven't been living on Netflix lately. I enjoyed it when I watched it because I'm done and I finished it quickly. Was Cheer. Let me tell you, those Navarro girls, they talk about how like they're like some of the strongest athletes out here. Period. Okay, honey? They're falling from like 10 feet in the air, hitting mats. And the mats are supported by nothing but like the wooden floor. Ain't no way, baby. Ain't no way. I feel like somebody is looking at this and they're like, Alex, your brows look disgusting. And honestly, in maybe like 6 months or so, I might think the same thing because, girl, last April, I was doing some ugly, just ridiculous things with my brows. And nobody told me. I'm not confident that this is much different. But we'll see. So, I'm priming my eyelid. This is Tarte Shape Tape in this shade Medium Golden. I typically prime my eyelids. I'm not going to set it. I don't know why I stopped doing that. Like, I used to go over it with a setting powder, but at some point, I just stopped doing that. So, now I don't do that anymore. So, now I just do not. So, I used to set my concealer with a powder, but I don't do that anymore. Because I feel like when I just don't feel like I need to, especially if it's like I'm putting shadow on top that's like a powder product. I mean, I don't know much about science, but the math adds up if you ask me. So there's that. So I'm gonna put this on, kind of bring it up to my brow line, and then we're gonna kind of fix that up a little bit later. But I kind of cover my concealer up. Like, see how, like, I brought it up super high so that it kind of, like, negated the odd light color of the NYX concealer? That's what we're doing. You might ask yourself, Alex, why don't you just outline your brows in Shape Tape or your foundation? Shh. That's my business. I understand that it doesn't make the best sense. I think I really just like the consistency of the NYX product, honestly. I like the way it stays on the brush. Like the Shape Tape to me, when I've tried to do the same method with the same brush, it didn't work. So we're going to stick with what we know. Alright, so let's get into shadows. So, you're going to see me like cleaning off my brushes. Typically, I use a Sephora spray brush cleaner, but for some reason today, it decided to spontaneously combust. So, we're going to be using my Sonia Kashuk Quick Dry Makeup Brush Wipes. I don't love them. I don't hate them. They're there, whatever. So, I'm going to be using a, what is this? Is this Luxie? Yeah, a Luxie 209 large shader. That's like my go-to brush for my creases right now. The brushes that I've used for my creases kind of change every once in a while. So, what I'll usually do when I'm using like a makeup brush cleaner, I use makeup brush cleaners in between products and like in between everything. But I do that and then I do like a little spritz of alcohol because I feel like if I'm not washing them, the bacteria would grow. That might not make sense, but that's what we're going to do. So just like with every look that I do, I'm going to go in with a brown shade in my crease. Literally 99% of the time, if I do an eyeshadow look, it starts off with a brown shade in my crease. So let me just go ahead and I usually tap out any sort of creasing that happens with my concealer before I go in. And this is just to give me a base and really let the colors pop. I didn't do a lot, but I did a little. And my eyelids are like pretty much the same color as my face. I think some people will have like a darker eyelid or like hyperpigmentation. I don't even know if that's the right term for what I'm describing right now. But some people like do color correct a little bit more, a little bit less. But I really just wanted a base. I didn't really need to color correct, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go in. I'm using the Juvia's Place Masquerade palette, and I'm using the shade Zulu. And I'm just gonna put that right in my crease. So, Cheer. Those girls are insane. If you haven't watched it, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Actually, yes, I am. If you haven't watched Cheer and you don't want to know how it ends, I'll give you a minute to go. Skip forward like 2 minutes. I shouldn't need more than 2 minutes to talk about this. I'll give you time. Okay, so now that they're gone, girl, when I tell you Cheer put me through the ringer, that last little episode, or like that last little, and so I switched between like the close up mirror and this mirror, that last little episode where they messed up in the middle of their routine, when I tell you I died, like I swear, I thought they lost it. I was so sad. I was devastated. I didn't realize, I mean obviously until like 2 minutes later, that they were going to be able to like go back and like complete their cheer or whatever. I'm using back and forth motions. Someone said not to do that. I feel like I saw YouTube be like, no, use like circular motions and not windshield wipers. I do what I want. Listen to me. When I'm doing my makeup, I would like to say, don't think of it as a suggestion. Think of it as me telling you what I do. I'm not suggesting that you do this because, baby, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just showing you that this is what I do, and if you don't think it looks bad, feel free to copy it. So like I was saying, I was just so happy in the end. They all seemed like really great people. They all seemed really nice. Jerry, Morgan, and of course like it's edited so that the people that they focus on are the people that you actually see the most. Like, so for example, like Sherbs, right? Sherbs might have had like 15 hours of footage, right? But because Sherbs didn't make it to Daytona, I'm sure that they ended up cutting back some of her stuff, right? Or maybe like she was never really the focus. I feel like you just get footage of everybody, and then in the end that's when you decide who's gonna be featured or whatever. But they picked really good people to like really focus on, and I was really into it. So yes, Cheer was great. Another thing that I've been watching on Netflix is Sex Education. Sex Education is so good. Ife actually put me onto it. And it's one of my favorite shows right now. So I'm going to go in next with Bori from the same palette. I'm going to take my brush, wipe it on a little wipe. I have my wipe on top of a paper towel. I don't know why, but it made sense to me at the time. I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of alcohol, and then I'm going to just like wave it around because that's going to dry it, right? So, next topic. What are we going to talk about next? I made a little list. Let's talk about dating. And what I want to know is, why? Actually, no, I don't want to know the answer to this. But what I'm going to say is this. I'm going to speak about my experience and my experience only. I think that it is very odd when men who clearly are not super interested in me will not stop talking to me. And I don't mean like in an obsessive kind of way. Like, I'm not trying to make it seem like I have stalkers. I'm trying to say, like, if we go out on a date, right, and it's clear that like you really weren't feeling it, or if like we don't really communicate much after, or like if the vibe isn't really there, I don't understand like why you would bother like hitting me up 3 months down the line, right? So like, let's say we're talking, whatever, we're going on a couple dates, it's kind of dead. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with this brown brush and like kind of blend out the pink a little bit, or at least try to. Blending is not something that I'm really good at, or something that like I can see very well, so I just do what I do and hope that it comes out okay. And when I open my eye, the mistakes go away, so it's fine. But like, so for example, there's been people who we've gone out, let's say like 3, 4, 5 dates or something like that. We've gone out a couple times. It was cool, but then after the date, like, but we eventually fall off, right? If we eventually fall off, I take that to mean that neither one of us was super invested. Both of us are kind of like, you're cool, but we don't really want to pursue this, or we're not going to go any further. Why are you hitting me up again months later? I just feel like it's confusing to me, because a mutual lack of contact to me means that we're on the same page as far as like, oh, this isn't gonna work, I'm not interested in pursuing this. And I think that sometimes that just happens organically without a conversation, like, oh hey, I'm not interested anymore. So why then 6, 7 months, a year later come back when it's like, you clearly don't like me. I know that you don't like me. I know that you forgot about me. It makes me feel like you have like run out of people to text, and so like you're trying to like make sure that you still have access to me, or like recycle an old hotation, as the kids call it these days. And yet that's really just not necessary. Like, you're more than welcome to leave me alone. Like, take it as an L. I feel like, just like I'm gonna act the same. Like, not everybody that you date works out. You don't have to continuously like hold on to people when relationships don't work. You feel me? Like, you can end it. So now I'm going to go on top with, I don't even know. So this is the Zulu by Juvia's Place palette, and it's this bottom corner shade. It's messed up because it fell out and I packed it back in. It's okay though. Not your business. So I'm just like, you're more than welcome to leave me alone. Like, you're more than welcome to abandon this mission. You are more than welcome to just not talk to me anymore. But I feel like so many people just have a problem, like, with not dating, with, like, ending something after you date. Like, if we date and it doesn't go great and neither one of us want to continue it, full stop. That can be the end of it. And you ain't got to explain nothing to me, because we're dating. We're getting to know each other. So the expectation is a number of people that you date are not going to work out. So if that's me, then feel free to stop talking to me. Now, see, if we are like a couple months in and we have conversations about being exclusive, then we should probably have an official conversation to like cut it off. But if that's not the case, then baby, you're free to go. You are 100% free to go. Like, I just feel like it's not that deep. My feelings aren't hurt, and I'm just so busy. I have plenty of things to do. So, see ya. It's okay. Another thing too, though, I feel like when you date with intention, right? And state your intentions in the beginning. Am I ashy? I am. I don't have any lotion over here, so. Oh well. When I mean date with intention, I don't mean like date expecting everyone to be like your husband, your wife, or anything. But I feel like you should state what those intentions are. Like, if you're dating just for the fun of it, and if you just want to date casually, then at some point that should be stated. If you're dating because you're trying to get married, at some point that should be stated. If you're dating because you just got out of a relationship and you're trying to like ease back into the dating game but you don't want to commit to anything, that should be stated. Like, I feel like don't just randomly go around not telling people what your intentions are, because that just leads to confusion. And you know what I don't like? I don't like confusion. I like to know exactly what's going on. But hey, if that works for you, then that works for you. So another thing that I want to talk about. So if you all are on Twitter or Instagram or even YouTube, because I think she started on YouTube, Kayla Nicole is like a YouTuber who has a pretty large following, and honestly I understand why. She's funny. She had this tweet the other day, right? So this is my Fenty Beauty. This is the Fenty Beauty No Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation in the shade 345. Let me just wipe off the top of this because it's dirty. My Fenty Beauty foundation. So I've used this maybe like 4 times total. I just got this maybe like 3 weeks ago because, you know, my birthday came January 23rd and I went and bought a whole bunch of stuff with the gift cards that I got. So I'm going to do a haul with that probably later today. So if you see this look again, welcome. But I really like it so far. I don't really know that this is going to be like my like go-to foundation or anything, but so far it has been doing me right. And see, that's why it gets dirty. So far it's been doing me okay. I feel like somebody is watching this like, girl, that is way too much foundation. That's also my business. So, how do I apply my foundation? So I do this, and then I typically take like a foundation brush to spread it out, right? I'm not cleaning this brush off. So I take a foundation brush, and I kind of just like spread it out so there's an even disbursement all over my face. I don't put foundation on my forehead. Yeah, because Aaliyah's face doesn't either. And she was like, it makes your forehead look cakey. And I was like, I've kind of noticed that. So I don't put foundation on my forehead. And when I get to the end, like, y'all won't be able to tell. Or maybe you will and you'll think it looks horrible. I don't know, but I can't tell. So then I go in with a beauty blender. This is a Real Techniques beauty sponge, not a beauty blender. Beauty blenders are $18. These can be purchased in Marshalls for $4. So, guess which one I use. So, and then I go in with the beauty blender and I kind of blend it out. I put on more on my face than I ever have before today, because usually what I'll do is I'll do like 3 pumps total, and I feel like I really need to build it up. So today I was like, all right, let me put a little bit more on my face in the beginning and then go from there. So I'm gonna spread this out, evenly disperse it. I think it's really weird when people put foundation on their lips. I don't think that that's really necessary, but I've seen, honestly, I saw Nikki tutorials do it, so now I do it. So that's how I do my foundation. And then let's just get the under eye area. And let's just get this under eye area. Now I'm gonna have pink on my face. That might not have been the best decision. I should have wiped away the fallout actually before I did that. Okay. So that's our base layer. I'm gonna do this one section next. Hold on. So this is our base layer. And then I'm gonna go and correct the top. Okay, so now that the brows are fixed, kind of, there is I'm gonna go in with my concealer. So this is the Shape Tape concealer that I use under my eyes. I probably use way too much, but that's fine. So I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do my little sunbeam that I do. And so recently what I started doing, I don't know who, oh, I think I saw, that's empty. I think I saw a makeup artist that I follow on Instagram do this, but she blended out her concealer with a brush instead of a beauty blender, and that came out really pretty, right? So I did that, but I feel like it worked best on the edges. I still kind of wanted like a beauty blender blend up by my eyelids. So what I do is I kind of go in my inner corners with my beauty blender. Well, I keep calling it a beauty blender, with my foundation sponge. Just like this, and then I blend it out across the edges with a brush. So I'm gonna do that here, like go right underneath the eyelid and then right in the inner corners. Do that. It's like right under my eye is where I'm using this sponge, and then I'm gonna go in with one of my Real Technique sponges, not the Expert Face Brush. Is it the Expert Face Brush? No, it is the Expert Face Brush. Yeah, with the Expert Face Brush. And blend it out. So when I was living in London, doing my master's, I actually ended up working like BeautyCon London with Real Techniques. And so as a reward, instead of actually like paying me, what they did was they gave me all of the brushes in their collection. And this was what, like 2016, November 2016. So all of the brushes that they had out at that time, I still have and I pretty much use, which is why I'm typically using Real Technique sponges. Not necessarily because I would recommend them, but because like I got them for free. And I actually think they're like really good sponges. I definitely don't not recommend them. I just don't necessarily know that I would say they're like the best brushes on the market or anything. So, you know, if you have Real Technique brushes and you want to use them, then by all means. But if you have like another type of brush, like a different angle brush that you use, like a different foundation brush or whatever that you see me use, then like you don't have to have this brush. I feel like there's a lot of good brushes out there. Like even like if you're using like art store brushes or dollar store brushes, not, well, maybe not dollar store brushes, but like brushes off of Amazon, there's some pretty good brush collections. And so I feel like once I started doing this, I was able to blend my concealer into my face, like in this area, a lot better. With the beauty blender, it was probably just my technique, but with the beauty blender, I felt like I would always kind of see like a line where my concealer stopped and where my foundation or like my darker contour shade started. Whereas when I use the brush, I feel like it's just like a much more seamless finish, or like a much more seamless transition, I guess I should say. And then for my forehead, I kind of alternate between the two. And then I kind of just like go around in like this sun kind of motion. And then when I take my scarf off and do the rest of my face, you'll see how that works. So immediately after I do my under eye, then I set it because, oh god, it creases bad. So I use the Kat Von D Lock-It Setting Powder. I wouldn't necessarily even recommend this. I say that I use this because I got like a really small one. Well, maybe I would. I got a really small one last year for my birthday, because you know Sephora gives out birthday gifts, and like this Kat Von D Lock-It powder was like a mini version of it. Do I have it on this right now? Yeah, a mini version of it. So I kind of switched between the two. A mini version of it came with my birthday gift, and then I like went somewhere on vacation and I lost it. Or I forgot to bring it. I didn't lose it. I went to my vacation. I forgot to bring it with me. So I just bought like a full-size one. I don't even know if this is a full-size one. I think this is a full-size one. This might be a smaller one. How many ounces is this? This is 5.4 grams, 0.19 ounces. I don't know what size that is, but I went and bought another one once I ran out. And here we are. So I do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and contour my nose and my cheeks. So for my nose and my like sides of my face, what I use is LA Girl Pro Concealer in Espresso. This one is really old. It's actually kind of time for me to get a new one, so I need to either order one off Amazon or like go to the beauty store and hope that they have this exact shade. But I used to use LA Girl under my eyes as well. So the shade that I used to use, I think, was Pure Beige. Is that what this is? Yeah, I used to use Pure Beige under my eyes. Interesting, that's gone. But then I stopped because I was hearing really great things about Shape Tape. and Shape Tape is like $30. So we're gonna use that till it runs out. I might get a new one, I might not. One of the videos that I want to do in the coming weeks is like a full face of makeup products that I don't use anymore. So there's a lot of makeup products that I use that like I've either like switched from, or I don't use them anymore just because I forgot about them. There's a lot of makeup products too that I got like in like old BoxyCharms or Ipsies that I never really fully integrated into my routine because I had a product that I already use. So for example, there's like a couple blushes that I got that like I don't use because I already had a blush product, or like at one point I wasn't even using blush, or there's like eyeshadow palettes that I don't really gravitate to. So in one of my videos, I'm gonna take the scarf off now, it's time. And in one of my, well, I'll just move back. In one of my videos, I will kind of use all of those products and see how my face comes out, just because I feel like it'd be a good video to do. And then also I feel like I'll probably end up rediscovering a product that like I either forgot about or that I stopped using, so that'll be a good time. So with my nose contour, I always use my Eco Tools brush. So this is like a thicker kind of angled brush. I used to use this Royal and Langnickel brush, the angled eyeshadow brush. To me this screams contour, but whatever. This one, see how this one is like thicker? So I use the bigger one because I feel like it just like blended it out better. So, oh, that is really dark. I used way too much. Way too much. So whenever I feel like I have too much of a product on my face, what I do is I take like a strip of a paper towel and then I pat it, like to get some of the excess off. Like I'll go around, pat it in, and then some of it will like come off, and then I'll also like wipe off the brush some, and then I'll kind of go back in and just blend it. Oh, that is like way dark. Use this side of the mirror. See how this side is like not as dark at all? Oh, well, maybe it is. No, this side is a little softer. And then I do this to do like a little button nose type thing. I just feel like that's really cute because you see how there's like this little concealer thing? Like this little like the tip of my nose. That's where I usually put my highlighter. And I feel like when I do this, it just makes that part of my nose stick out even better. Alright, so now that I have sufficiently over contoured my nose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my beauty blender with the concealer and I'm going to kind of go back in a little bit with that, and I'm going to put more here. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to come up there. And then we'll revisit that in a second. But what I'll do too is I'm going to take, no, I'm going to use my Real Techniques one. I'm going to use my Real Techniques big angle brush. So this was like my go-to for my cheeks. I used this and then I switched to a couple different brushes, and then I came back to this just because it's like my favorite one. I feel like it blends out my cheek contour better than any other brush that I've done. I mean, you might disagree, but this ain't your channel. So we did it here. If you all are wondering, so I'm wearing a LuvMe lace front wig. It is, I think I ordered 12 inches. This feels more like 14 maybe. I got it like over a year ago. I haven't really even fully like done the sides yet, so they're lifting up. But I did do like this front part. I think they have like really good quality lace, especially for the price. I think this was only like a $150, $160 wig. So, and then I kind of come up here. Oh, I did way too much on my forehead. So let me just, this, y'all are gonna be like, oh, Alex, oh no. Let me grab, where's my comb? Kind of brush the hairs back a little bit because they're getting in my way. Or I guess comb them back a little bit because they're getting in my way. And then I just kind of, I don't really like putting makeup on my lace because typically I wear my lace front wigs like 2 days in a row, and the first day I'll have on makeup and then the second day I won't. So it's kind of just like, then I feel like it's a slightly darker than like my regular skin tone, and in order to get it off I usually use a makeup remover, but the makeup remover breaks down the adhesive. So you see the problem? I don't know if you all followed along, but basically the gist of it is that if makeup gets on my lace, then I either have to like take the lace off or like go through like this long process of trying to get the makeup off my lace, so the next day when I wear my wig it doesn't look mismatched or anything. So that's where we're at with this. This lace is like up a little bit, so what I'm gonna do is trim it just a tad. Just a tad. So like there's like, y'all probably can't see it on camera, but in person I can see it. So I'm gonna get it. Okay. Alright, let's just take this off. I'm so interested to see how this looks on camera. Okay, so when I feel like my nose is over contoured, which is usually like a lot of the time when I do it, to be honest, because it's really hard for me to kind of strike that fine line between like just enough and far too much. So when I feel like I overdid it a little bit, what I'll typically do is I'll use like the butt of my beauty sponge that still has like a little bit of foundation on it, and I'll kind of go over it. I'm not really sure if that's helping. Really, it's like this side that's like way too much, but I'll just take my pictures from this side. We'll keep it like that. So I'm looking at the base of my makeup. This looks good. All right, so I gotta work at 5 minutes 4:04, so let's speed this up. So next I'm gonna do liner. So the liner that I use that I love, oh my god, I love this. Beauty For Real Finish Line Liner is the blackest liner I've ever used. It's so good. Like one swipe, do y'all see that? It's so black. It's so pigmented, and it also doesn't pick up the shadow like when you go over top of it. Like I feel like I have a couple liners where like I'll pick up shadow on my liner brush, and so it won't stay black for the whole swipe, or if I ever try to like go back into it. But with this one I did not have that problem at all. So I kind of go out and then try to do that wing and then come back in, and then this is where I switch. So I switch from this to Kat Von D liner. So I just got this gift set. It has a mini version of the liner that I'm talking about though. This is the Kat Von D tattoo liner. I really like this for the corners because I feel like it's really sharp. I just like the applicator. The product isn't bad, but I feel like I can get like a really sharp line with this. So I go over it. That, and then I just kind of switch until I get the shape that I want. Oops, mess. Oh, but you know what? It's fine because I forgot that I'm going over this with a different liner. Y'all see in just a second. So that's that eye. Alright, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this eye, and then I'll come back when I'm done. Alright, so this is the finished look. Life definitely comes at you fast, so I had to leave to go to work as soon as I was done, so I didn't really get to film this outro. I did my makeup when I finished it at like 4:30. It is now 12:17. Y'all see my little family? It's now 12:17. So this is what my makeup looks like after that number of hours, 8. So after 8 hours, dang, that's a long time. But after, so after 8 hours, this is what my makeup looks like. I came back, I touched it up a little bit, did a little setting powder, reapplied some highlight, like just little things here and there. But this is what it looks like. I also did my hair. So I just wand curled it and then pinned it back some. But yeah, this is basically what it looks like. My favorite part of this whole look is the eyeliner. Look at the eyeliner. So the eyeliner I did, what is it? It's L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Liquid Eyeliner in the shade Rose Gold. And this is my favorite eyeliner at the moment. I don't really love the applicator or the mechanism that it comes in, but it's fine. And this wig is a LuvMe hair. I want to say 12 inches, even though it felt like a lot more like 12. It felt like a lot longer than 12 inches when I originally bought it. So I'll go through, double check my order, see what I actually bought, and then put the, probably not a link to the wig because I don't think it's available anymore, but I'll put the description in it so that you guys can like check it out if you want to below. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, let me know in the comments what kind of looks you would like me to do next. And I will see you next time. Bye.